We're just in the start of the banana zone. That works for crypto, it works for technology. So overall, the portfolio's in a kind of set it and forget it phase where it should start to really perform well. We'll see how that plays out over the next 2-3 months. I think it should be a very strong period because liquidity is on tap, the Chinese are printing money, and the central banks are cutting rates. Most of them should join in. So we should getting exactly the picture that we've been looking for, that the Everything Code has been giving us. For those of you who are pro-macro investors, you'll know everything about the Everything Code. I've barely started. We don't have time. None of us. We don't really know. We're always a bit scared. It's like, I don't really know how to change my workflow. It kind of works for me to do it this way right now. But we've got to push each other and push ourselves because we need to be at the front of this. We can't be behind. We need to be at the front. That's what the Exponentialist is all about.
Raoul Pal begins by contextualizing the current stage of the economic cycle, which he calls the transition from macro summer to macro fall. This phase is a waiting period where market participants let their investments play out and observe as the broader economic forces align. Pal advises patience, noting that while short-term volatility will occur, the broader macro picture will unfold over the next 18 months. Central banks are cutting rates and liquidity is increasing globally, with China leading by printing money. This influx of liquidity will create favorable conditions for financial markets, particularly in technology and crypto sectors. According to Pal, portfolios in this environment should be in a set-it-and-forget-it mode, with the expectation that they will perform well over the next few months as economic tailwinds gain momentum.
Please take a little time to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on post notifications for more videos like this. You can also check out our other videos on cryptocurrencies and the overall digital asset space and drop your comments and observations in the comments section below. Everything you do helps with the YouTube algorithm and immensely contributes to the channel's growth. Thanks and enjoy the video.
We wait over time for the business cycle to develop to look for the great opportunities. And we're in that macro summer transitioning to macro fall that will take us for the next 18 months. So there's pretty much nothing to do for the time being. Let the bets play out, let the banana zone begin. But in the technology side, there is literally a shit ton going on. There is more things going on than any of us can comprehend. And this is what I've talked about at the exponential age. I've said we've only got 6 years, I think, to kind of sort our shit out, make as much money as we can before the world changes so much that we can't truly even understand it anymore. We don't even know what business models apply, what work we do. Now, I'm not saying in 6 years' time everything has changed. What I'm saying is in 6 years' time, things will be changing so fast that it'll really create an uncertainty. I think it's even now hard to even build businesses. We've kind of got financial markets to ourselves for the time being, but before long we have to share it with AGI. And the opportunity set changes yet again, and we figure out new ways of doing things. You see, I think a lot about AI. I think a lot about AI and what it means. Robotics. We've just seen the whole Tesla event and where robotics are going. Now, again, Elon may have used people behind the scenes controlling the robots, but the point is to set your imagination what the world is going to be like. Now, it shouldn't have taken your attention away that essentially the guides to the theme park of that Tesla were the Optimus robots, the bar people, the Optimus robots. And that tells us the scale of disruption that is coming. And then there was the robots that drive you around, the robots that deliver you from A to B. And if you walk around in the streets around you, you'll see that in any city, most of the people in a car are getting paid to drive you there, whether it's a taxi driver, a bus driver, a delivery driver, a truck driver. All of these people are seeing their future change in front of their eyes. The tools that we use are changing so fast, it's hard for us to keep up with it. So I started writing a service that came out of, I do a lot of this work at my flagship research service, Global Macro Investor. And if you want to read more about that, just to go to globalmacroinvestor.com to learn a bit more about what I do. And I've said before, that's the nexus of my nexus. Let's not overuse that word. That's the DNA of my thinking. Everything that I do starts there. That's the most important thinking, the kind of deepest analysis that's been going 20 years or so. But out of that, I asked David Mattin, who writes with me there, you see him on Real Vision a lot, to come and help me just develop this into a separate, more affordable research service called the Exponentialist, which is really help you navigate these extraordinary technological times. And it's not only, hey, this is what the technologies are coming and this is how they're all going to fit together. This is how we can invest in it. We've got a portfolio that's done very well, but it's not about that either. It's about what it means for you and I, how we can leverage this new world, how we can not feel left behind. Basically, we not only need to invest in our demise, which is what we've got 6 years to do, but also we need to stay on top of the competition. And the competition is superpowering itself by using these tools. Anyway, I talk about these things in great depth in the Exponentialist. David writes a lot of essays. He also does video AMAs to help people understand what this all means. And every quarter, I do a State of the Union address. You know, we're just in the start of the banana zone. That works for crypto, it works for technology. So overall, the portfolio's in a kind of set it and forget it phase where it should start to really perform well. We'll see how that plays out over the next 2-3 months. I think it should be a very strong period because liquidity is on tap. The Chinese are printing money and the central banks are cutting rates. Most of them should join in. So we should getting exactly the picture that we've been looking for, that the Everything Code has been giving us. For those of you who are pro-macro investors, you'll know everything about the Everything Code. I've barely started. We don't have time. None of us, we don't really know. We're always a bit scared. It's like, I don't really know how to change my workflow. It kind of works for me to do it this way right now. But we've got to push each other and push ourselves because we need to be at the front of this. We can't be behind. We need to be at the front. That's what the Exponentialist is all about.
Pal observes that despite the demand for chips, semiconductor stocks have not been performing well. He attributes this to market noise and temporary setbacks, emphasizing that such periods of underperformance are common in long-term trends. For seasoned investors, this is simply a moment to take profits and reposition for the next wave. Pal also mentions the Everything Code, a proprietary macro framework that informs his investment strategies. It suggests that as liquidity conditions improve, markets, including crypto and tech, will perform strongly, aligning with the anticipated macro environment.
And yes, we can generate enough power. And yes, it's very mid-curve to assume, oh my God, they're going to run out of power because of the data centers and oil's going to go to $400 and everyone's going to face inflation. This sort of stuff has proven to be wrong. So I just assume that as we scale the needs for energy, we will scale energy at the same pace. Yes, there will be occasional shortages, whether it's chip shortages, stuff like that. Talking of chip shortages, interesting. I mean, the semis still trade not great right now. I don't really understand why. I mean, we took profits off in GMI and Pro Macro from those trades. We got it as part of the basket because it's so important. But I kind of feel like, again, if you listen to Larry Ellison and his ridiculous conversation about, well, we had to take Jensen Huang out for dinner, him and Elon, and beg him that they will buy as many GPUs as he could give. And then you hear what Mark Zuckerberg is doing. He's just like, I can buy all the GPUs because I have all the cash flow and I'm going to keep going. And we haven't stopped. In fact, we barely started, was what Zuckerberg was saying last week. And Google are in the same boat. Microsoft are in the same boat. Tesla's in the same boat. So they're basically saying right now, Zuckerberg was on tape saying that as far as they can tell, knowledge is almost infinitely scalable currently with LLMs and reinforced learning models just by adding more compute. They said we haven't got to the point where it plateaus out. So we're just going to keep adding more and more compute. I mean, this is, I'll keep saying I've never seen anything like this. Nobody has, nobody ever will again, what's happening. So, and that's without Chinese demand for chips, and that's without anybody else doing this. Everybody needs more and more and more and more and more compute. So that's really what I wanted to talk to you about today. It's like, I get stuck now how to even grasp all of the things happening at the same time. David and I try and tease them apart. And these kind of the State of the Union address, this quarterly thing, for me was really about trying to frame it within the exponential age thesis and make sure you're coming along for the ride. That's when we started the Exponentialist. And now it's so obvious what is going on, but yet so unfathomable that I feel like it's actually pretty hard for me to add value apart from just talk about stuff and think about stuff, and want you to do the same in the comment section, because there's so many things I'm not seeing. Obviously, there's all of the stuff that's happened in biotech and the life sciences side, the genetic sciences side. There's so much in every component part of the exponential age. You can double click and they're all doing this at an exponential rate. And it's impossible to see the magnitude and the picture of joining all these dots together. That's my job, and I'm pretty good at joining dots together. And I can't join them all together because I can't even see all the dots anymore. It's just, and they're all moving too fast to even keep our eye on or keep into our news feeds. What I do, what does help me is, once you start following the right people on Twitter, just anybody, from Sam Altman to the people who respond to them to maybe the AI meme guy that I just talked about and whatever, you'll get suggestions in your feed once you start watching articles, and then start creating a Twitter lists. And then once you've got Twitter lists, you'll then be able to have your own curated source that doesn't have all the other shit in it. And you can go and say, I want to catch up on AI or robotics or whatever, and you can have your own feeds of that. I find that's a pretty decent hack. I don't know, you could probably ask Grok, hey, what are the top 10 accounts? In fact, I'm going to do it for you right now. In fact, I'm going to do it on the screen. I have no idea if this is going to work, but let's try. So I'm going to bring up my Twitter.
Pal observes that despite the demand for chips, semiconductor stocks have not been performing well. He attributes this to market noise and temporary setbacks, emphasizing that such periods of underperformance are common in long-term trends. For seasoned investors, this is simply a moment to take profits and reposition for the next wave. Pal also mentions the Everything Code, a proprietary macro framework that informs his investment strategies. It suggests that as liquidity conditions improve, markets, including crypto and tech, will perform strongly, aligning with the anticipated macro environment.
Please like and subscribe my channel.